1 in every 200 men alive today carries his DNA. That's roughly 16 million people, all descended from one man who died 800 years ago. His name was Genghis Khan, and scientists have the proof. In 2003, a team of geneticists at Oxford University made a discovery that rewrote human history. They found a genetic marker on the Y-chromosome, a specific pattern that appeared across Central Asia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. The same marker over and over. When they traced it back through time, everything pointed to one source: a single ancestor who lived during the Mongol Empire. The timeline matched perfectly: 1162 to 1227, Genghis Khan's lifetime. But how does one man's DNA spread to 16 million descendants in just 34 generations? The answer lies in three things: the largest contiguous empire in human history, systematic conquest across 2 continents, and a social structure that gave Khan and his sons unprecedented reproductive access. Hundreds of wives, hundreds of concubines, dozens of children, and an empire that protected his bloodline for generations. Today, I'll show you exactly how scientists proved this connection, the genetic evidence they found, the mathematics behind the spread, and the unexpected truth about what this reveals. Let's begin. The study began with a simple observation. Geneticists noticed an unusual pattern in Y-chromosome data across Asia. Normally, genetic diversity spreads evenly across populations. But this was different. One specific genetic signature appeared at extraordinarily high frequencies. The research team, led by Chris Tyler-Smith at Oxford, collected blood samples from 16 populations across Asia, more than 2,000 men total. What they found was remarkable. 8% of men in the region carried an identical Y-chromosome lineage. The same 16 genetic markers, exactly the same. This pattern is called a star cluster. It happens when one man has so many descendants that his genetic signature dominates the population. The scientists measured the age of this lineage using mutation rates. Y-chromosomes mutate at a predictable pace, roughly 1 mutation every few generations. By counting the mutations, they could trace backward through time. The calculation pointed to a common ancestor who lived approximately 1,000 years ago, give or take a few centuries. The timeline landed precisely during the Mongol Empire, between 1162 and 1227. The geographic distribution told the rest of the story. The highest concentrations appeared in Mongolia. Nearly 34% of men there carry the marker. It spread through Central Asia, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, northern China. Everywhere the Mongol Empire conquered. The correlation was undeniable. But here's the critical detail that proved the connection. The lineage didn't just spread randomly. It followed the exact borders of Mongol conquest. Modern Mongolia showed the highest frequency, the ancestral homeland. Then it decreased gradually as you moved outward from the empire's core territories. The pattern matched historical records of Mongol expansion perfectly. China showed significant presence, the Yuan dynasty territories. The Middle East showed markers where the Ilkhanate ruled. Russia showed traces where the Golden Horde dominated. 16 million men today, all carrying this signature. The mathematics behind this spread is equally stunning. If one man has dozens of children, and each of those children has multiple children, the numbers compound exponentially. Across 34 generations, the growth becomes massive, especially when power structures ensure those descendants maintain elite status. This wasn't random genetic drift. This was systematic biological dominance backed by imperial power. Three factors made this genetic spread possible. Empire, polygamy, power. Let's start with scale. The Mongol Empire became the largest contiguous land empire in human history. At its peak, it stretched across 12 million square miles. From Korea to Hungary, from Siberia to the Indian subcontinent. 1 in 5 people on Earth lived under Mongol rule. That's roughly 100 million people in the 13th century. Genghis Khan didn't just conquer territory. He systematically absorbed populations into a unified administrative system. This created unprecedented opportunity for genetic transmission. Now add polygamy. Historical records indicate Khan had hundreds of wives and concubines. The secret history of the Mongols documents dozens by name, but the actual number was likely far higher. Every conquered territory brought new alliances sealed through marriage. Defeated rulers offered daughters to secure peace. Tribal leaders provided wives to demonstrate loyalty. Khan's sons inherited this same privilege. Jachai Chagatai Urjade Talyui, each commanded vast territories. Each maintained their own extensive harems. The reproductive advantage compounded across generations. Here's where power becomes critical. In most societies, genetic lineages dilute over time. Children scatter, status fragment, bloodlines fade. But Mongol social structure worked differently. Khan's descendants held political supremacy for centuries. They controlled resources, commanded armies, governed provinces. This elevated status meant continued reproductive access. Elite Mongol men could support multiple families. They had wealth to attract wives. They had authority to claim concubines. Compare this to an average farmer with 1 wife and 3 children. Khan's lineage reproduced at 5 to 10 times that rate. Generation after generation. The genetic advantage wasn't just biological. It was structural, built into the fabric of the empire itself. His grandsons ruled the Yuan dynasty in China for nearly a century. His descendants controlled the Golden Horde in Russia for 2 centuries. The Ilkhanate in Persia, the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia. Each ruling family maintained this reproductive pattern. Multiple wives, numerous children protected status. The system was designed to preserve Khan's bloodline. And it worked. For 800 years. Across 2 continents. Creating a genetic legacy unmatched in human history. Genghis Khan wasn't born into power. He was born Temujin in 1162, the son of a minor tribal chief on the Mongolian steppes. His father was poisoned when Temujin was 9 years old. His family was abandoned by their clan. They survived on wild fruits and small game. This poverty shaped everything that came after. Temujin understood survival. He understood loyalty. He understood betrayal. By his 30s, he began uniting the fractured Mongol tribes through strategic alliances and brutal efficiency. In 1206, he was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. What followed was systematic conquest. Khan revolutionized warfare on the Asian steppes. His armies moved with unprecedented speed and coordination. Mounted archers who could fire accurately at full gallop. Psychological warfare that terrified enemies into surrender. Intelligence networks that mapped territories before invasion. Within 2 decades, he controlled an empire spanning from China to the Caspian Sea. Cities that resisted faced total destruction. Cities that surrendered were integrated into the empire. This wasn't mindless violence. It was calculated expansion, designed to create stability through dominance. Khan died in 1227 during a campaign in western Xia. The exact cause remains disputed. Some sources say illness, others say battle wounds. His body was returned to Mongolia and buried in an unmarked grave. The location remains unknown to this day. But his empire didn't die with him. His sons divided the territories into 4 khanates. Each maintained Mongol control for generations. Urgedei continued expansion into Europe. Taoyui's line established the Yuan dynasty in China. The empire fragmented slowly over the next century. But the genetic legacy had already taken root, embedded in populations across 2 continents, waiting to be discovered by scientists 8 centuries later. Here's what makes this story even more fascinating. Genghis Khan isn't the only super ancestor in human history. Scientists have found similar patterns elsewhere. Nile of the 9 hostages, an Irish king from the 5th century. Roughly 3 million men carry his Y-chromosome marker, mostly concentrated in Ireland and Scotland. Then there's Jiakenga, a Qing dynasty ancestor. His lineage appears in approximately 1.5 million men in northeastern China. These genetic bottlenecks reveal something profound about human history. Power didn't just shape politics and culture. It shaped our actual DNA. But here's the limitation scientists rarely mention. The study can't prove with absolute certainty that Genghis Khan is the source. Only that someone from his immediate family line is responsible. Could be his father, could be a brother, could be a grandfather. The genetic resolution isn't precise enough to identify one individual. But historical evidence makes Khan the most likely candidate. No other figure from that period had comparable power and reproductive access. Another unexpected detail. The 16 million men carrying this marker have no idea. There's no physical trait associated with it. No distinctive features, no special abilities. It's invisible without genetic testing. You could carry Genghis Khan's Y chromosome and never know. This raises interesting questions about legacy. Khan's cultural impact was massive, but his genetic impact is completely divorced from culture. Most descendants don't speak Mongolian, don't practice Mongolian traditions, don't identify with Mongol heritage at all. DNA spread doesn't equal cultural transmission. The publishing of this study in 2003 sparked ethical debates. Some geneticists worried it glorified conquest and violence, that it romanticized a brutal imperial system. Others argued it simply revealed objective historical truth. The data existed regardless of interpretation. Modern ancestry testing companies now screen for this marker. 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, others. If you carry it, they'll tell you. Your connection to one of history's most powerful figures, written in your chromosomes, transmitted across 800 years. A genetic echo of empire. This discovery fundamentally changed how we understand human history. Before 2003, historians studied empires through documents and artifacts. Buildings, weapons, written records. Now genetics provides a biological archive, one that can't be destroyed or rewritten. The Genghis Khan study proved that power structures leave measurable traces in our DNA. It opened an entirely new field of research. Historical genetics. Scientists now search for other super ancestors hidden in population data. They map ancient migrations through genetic markers. They verify historical claims using biological evidence. This approach has revealed colonial impacts previously invisible in traditional records. Genetic bottlenecks from wars, population replacements from invasions, the biological consequences of conquest. For ancestry research, the implications are profound. Millions of people discovering unexpected connections. A man in Pakistan learning he shares lineage with someone in Hungary. Both descended from the same Mongol ancestor. Geography matters less than we thought. History lives in our cells. The search continues for other genetic legacies. Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Ramses II. Did they leave similar signatures? The data exists in modern populations. We just haven't found it yet. Or perhaps we have. Hidden in plain sight. Waiting for the right study to reveal it. What the Genghis Khan discovery ultimately proved is simple. History isn't just written in books. It's written in us. Passed down through generations. Invisible but permanent. A genetic memory of everything that came before. There are dozens more stories like this hidden in our DNA. Genetic mysteries that rewrite what we thought we knew about the past. Next time, I'll tell you about the DNA evidence that revealed Europe's most violent conquest. One that erased entire populations and left almost no historical records. Only genetic proof. Until then, consider this. Every person you pass on the street carries ancient history in their cells. Stories written in chromosomes. Empires encoded in genes. We are all walking archives of everything that came before.